where we got juiced up already
50%.
about discussing.
Let's go.
Is there a God? And does God exist? Because we were talking about a bunch of times, when we were talking about Hollywood and God and how they portray God different. I hear already a lot of people just arguing, but there is no God. And then it becomes into a different argument now, because now, is there proof for God? Can we talk about it? Can we see it? Again, where I'm sitting, obviously, I can say yes.
I agree.
Yeah. And we could be here all night and we could give you examples. But
Samples for days.
I think people might not want to sit here all night. But again, we could talk about it. All I know is that in Romans, I'm not going to read the verse, but I know that completely, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves, Romans 1:18, it says that it just technically says, I'm paraphrasing, this is like the wrath of God is revealed against the ungodliness and the unrighteousness of people, holding down the truth. In other words, they're suppressing the truth, is what I'm trying to say. Like, God's wrath is hanging over the people who are trying to suppress the truth and don't want the truth to come out. And I think that in our arguments for does God exist, this is very complex, because there's several ways we can go about it to explain. We can go.
Yeah, it also depends on what type of God we're talking about as well, because some people,
I like that,
they limit a God. So we're obviously talking about a theistic God.
Yeah, the God of the Bible.
Yeah.
Let's put it there. That's where I've sit with my research.
Theism means that God made all. Some people are pantheism, or some religions God is all around you. And then there's obviously atheism, which there's no God at all. So we're obviously talking about the God of the Bible, which is theistic God.
And I understand where other people have that mindset, because God has placed his signature on everything. So that's why they get the idea that he's in all that stuff. But just because it has a signature or a fingerprint doesn't mean that,
that is God.
that is God. Yeah, exactly. So I see where they can get confused regarding that stuff. The reason that we're talking about this is because, again, I don't want to jump right away into evolution or like that. But we were talking about last time about how Darwin would say that, life evolved because it was simple. There was no complexity.
Yeah.
And then that'll be the first attack that I would like to bring up of God exists, is the design, the complexity of how everything is around us, right? So, like Earth, let's talk about that. I know I'm jumping around. We're gonna jump around. It doesn't matter how we jump around. It's unscripted. We're having a conversation. I'm just trying to give you what I have in my notes here. When we're talking about God, we're talking about a designer that created everything and sustains everything to today. That's when we talk about God of the Bible. So if we talk about the Earth, right? Its size is like perfect.
Yeah.
Right. It has like gravity, and a thin layer of like nitrogen and oxygen gases only extend about like 50 miles from the Earth's surface. And they scientists were saying that if that changes by a little bit, we don't have an atmosphere.
Yeah.
So again, this is going to the fine tuning, and you guys could jump in anytime.
Yeah, there's a lot of reoccurrences of that as well, with the whole Goldilocks zone. Scientists say that the Earth is in the Goldilocks zone, and in terms of we're in the perfect spot from the sun.
Yeah.
And if we're any closer to the sun,
we'll die,
we would burn up. Or any further, we'll die and freeze up.
Yeah.
So they, scientists realize that. Again, we're in the perfect spot, and a lot of people. Yeah, everything's by chance. Everything's chance.
We're just very lucky
that
we're in the perfect spot.
And like you guys were saying, I have just some stats here so you guys could see. If we swing the Earth or move it anywhere closer or further away, if we're further away from the sun, it's like minus 30 degrees.
Wow.
And if we get closer, it'll jump to plus 120 degrees.
Yikes.
That Goldilocks zone is real. Even I have a quote here from Stephen Hawking. He said, if the rate of expansion, this is more towards the Big Bang, if the rate of expansion 1 second after the Big Bang had been smaller by even 1 part in 100,000 million, the universe would have collapsed before it even reached its present size.
Wow.
I mean, we're just lucky.
But, you know, we're just lucky. That's just chance, you know? Wow.
Well, by you guys just reading that, it just makes me think that even the Big Bang, I'm doing air quotes here, even the Big Bang seems to be calculated
Man.
to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Meaning the perfect pressure, the perfect expansion rate, the perfect energy force that was placed in it seems to be like calculated.
Somebody banged it.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody banged it. I like that.
Just to jump on what Martin said, because for a long time scientists were trying to like they were debating on whether the universe was eternal, like the universe was always there, but
It's not even possible.
that's not even. They obviously, you know, thank God they came to the conclusion that there was a beginning. There was a beginning of the universe, and the universe wasn't eternal. And again, another quote, Stephen Hawking. He said, "Almost everyone now believes that the universe and time itself had a beginning at the Big Bang." And again, the Big Bang is everything came out of nothing. You know,
Nothing created everything.
Yeah, nothing created everything. If you're atheist, nothing created everything. That's impossible.
Wow.
Really.
Where's the scientific
Well, I mean,
observation of
if
that?
you could look up the definition of like science, but you're right. That's a scientifically what impossibility. Like nothing can create nothing.
Yeah, man. When have you ever seen that?
It's impossible.
And you know what's interesting too? That in Genesis, when it speaks about the beginning, it shows 3 things that need to be, that need to exist at the same time. We spoke about this before.
Yeah.
So
Time,
it talks,
matter, and space.
Yeah, time, matter, and space. Because if you have space, right, or you have matter but no space, where do you put it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
if you have space there and no time,
when
then
do you put it?
When do you put it? Yeah.
When do you put it? So it's funny how God says in the beginning, He created the heavens and the earth. And it's funny how in the beginning, which is time, created the heavens, which is space, and then
The earth is matter.
the matter, which is interesting how,
Coincidentally.
the Bible just puts that in there in perfect order and at the same time.
Everything is in threes.
I like that. Everything
He's right.
in threes.
I like
Everything
that.
is a trinity. We're the third planet, and it's perfect.
Yep.
And
And the humans are like what, mind, body, and soul, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And three.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
'Cause,
That's a good point.
to jump on that too, on the time, space, and matter, because Einstein's general relativity, when he was coming up with that, he realized that time, space, and matter were all correlative, and they had to come into existence at the same time, which the Bible explains in Genesis 1:1, like you were saying. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, which means they all came together at that same time when God obviously created. Like Martin said, he knew who banged the Big Bang. We know who banged it. But I have the definition of science here. It says, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment.
And that's going to be important for us as we continue with this conversation, because that means that there's some things that we either can see, right, and call it scientific and call it fact, and then there's going to be things that we're not going to be able to see. And it's not only on one side, it's going to be on both sides, meaning that there's stuff that as Christians we're not going to be able to see, and this is why we call faith, and we're honest about it from the beginning. But then the scientists say that they don't admit that they can't see it. They just put like big numbers behind it. And the reason that I'm saying that is because a lot of people are going to say that when we don't understand something, we just stick, the God in the gaps theory, that when we can't explain it, we just stick God in it. But then I feel, but just observing and listening, that when they can't explain it, they just put time in it. They stick time, millions and millions of years, billions and billions of years. You can't observe it because you're going to be long gone. But trust me, it's billions and billions of years.
Yeah, like you said, the time gaps, like they say, we fill the gaps with God, they fill it with time. And by chance, they love saying chance. I was watching not Steven, what's his name? Dr. Frank Turek.
Yeah.
He was saying that when a scientist says, "Oh, by chance," that means they really don't know. They just say, "Oh, by chance this happened," because like they can't explain it. And then for them not to sound, or for them not to, God forbid, they said they don't know. They gotta say, you know, they gotta use the word chance.
Yeah, they also use that word plausible. I know
Yeah,
Lawrence Krauss
plausible.
does that all the time. It's plausible, which means it's possible.
Plausible.
It's an imagination, it's a theory.
It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. We don't know for sure, but it's plausible.
Mm-hmm.
It's plausible.
It's funny. I also wanted to talk about like water, right? Like water is interesting. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because a lot of people don't talk about it. It's colorless, it's odorless, it has without taste, but every living thing in this planet can live without it. So if by chance all this just happened randomly, right? How did anything or any organism figure out to create water? And said, hey, everything that lives on this planet is going to need this. Let me create it.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Nothing came up with that. It's all right.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny to me.
And that's very, like you said, water is super crucial, because even like the scientists now, they look at other planets and the first thing they're looking for, or one of the first things they're looking for, water to sustain life, because without water, there's you can't really sustain life on any planet.
Yeah. And I want to share some facts here too. It says that water is also chemically neutral without affecting the makeup or the substance of, what it carries. So meaning that you can mix water with food, with nutrients, with minerals, and it doesn't change the property of it. So the reason I'm telling you guys this is because if everything is by coincidence and everything's being created by mistakes, who knows how many errors there were? Like, how long did it take for whatever process to create all this by chance, right? Created water that now it doesn't even change the property of food or nutrients, so our body can absorb it properly. Also, the water has water has a unique surface tension, meaning that even though there's gravity, water will flow up into plants, even though no matter how tall they are. Water will flow up to the tallest tree.
It's crazy. And again, like, just thinking, like, I don't understand. Like, you like you're saying, you're bringing all this, and then you really like Frank Turek says, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, because like you're saying this really all happened by like chance. Like, everything is so specific, like you said, design, because we're into design, talking about the design of everything. Like, everything is so fine-tuned in design so perfectly that everything works perfectly, and all the circumstances around you work perfectly, so things could grow, people could live. I don't have enough faith to be just like, yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, and it's
from nothing, which is impossible as well.
It's actually hard. I think it's easier to say, "Oh, God did it."
Yeah,
or somebody,
Yeah,
it's easier. It's just like,
it's
again, but then
much easier. You gotta jump through hoops just to be like, we came from monkeys, and
we gotta convince ourselves.
Yeah, macroevolution.
Oh boy.
How did you see? Have you ever seen macroevolution? No, it happened too long ago, and it stopped working. So
millions of years.
By chance.
we did an update
By chance,
We
right?
switched to microevolution.
You know what, George? Even looking at the composition of water, it's 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. So it's still a trinity that makes it work.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That it just it continues to, but like what he said, it's a trinity. Like, how did that come out of nothing? Like, how does that work like that?
The monkeys did it.
How'd they do it?
The bacterial soup.
Yeah.
Yo, that bacterial soup. That's crazy how they think everything from what was that? What's that theory? They think that cosmic soup is where we all came from.
Oh yeah.
Cosmic soup. I never heard of that.
You never heard of that?
That's it's one theory.
Yeah, it's like the
I'm about to look
obviously
that
it's
up.
like,
Yeah,
That
look it
sounds
up.
crazy.
Look it up.
It's like after the Big Bang, like, everything was just a mix of molecules and particles, and then things
That's
just started
lit.
forming.
That's
And then
lit.
it was like a I call it, I don't know if it's called cosmic soup. I think I've heard that term before.
They used
Okay.
a term like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Found it? Go ahead.
And the soup theory was proposed in 1929.
The soup theory.
That's a real theory.
Hey man, just like the
I like the turtle one better.
The
The turtle one's better.
It was on the origin of life, in which the author argued that UV radiation provided the energy to convert methane, ammonia, and water into the first organic compounds in the oceans of the early Earth.
Wow.
Get out of town.
So the Earth was already created in that theory. I wonder.
Yeah, but my question to his theory then, what happened with, because I wanted to give a point here, right? Because we know that like 97% of the Earth is like covered in water, is oceans, I should say.
71%.
71%, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like 71%. It's covered in oceans or water.
Yeah, 71% of the Earth's surface level is water, and 96.5% of the Earth's water is in the ocean.
It's in the
if
ocean.
that makes sense.
It does.
okay.
It does.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I'm going. Thank you for correcting me, because that's
Yeah,
exactly where I'm
that makes
going.
Yeah.
So that means that majority of the water is salt water.
Mm-hmm.
We can't drink salt water.
Mm-hmm.
But then in place, there's like a system of evaporation
Yeah.
that goes up to the clouds, filters the salt out, and becomes rain, and it rains over the like plants or over the land.
The
So
monkeys did it.
so in his theory, with the UV light and the soup
Yeah.
in the oceans or whatever, what happened to the evaporation there? Was the system not in place yet, or
No, the monkeys were still going through it, you know. The monkeys were still drawing out the blueprints.
Nah, bro, the monkeys weren't there yet.
Oh, the monkeys weren't there
No,
yet?
that's how the first organic
Oh,
compound
so it was
was
fish
formed.
then.
I don't know. He said it was fish.
So it was fish. No, yeah, it was like fish. Then like, I don't know, like
No,
frog,
we
and
could-
then
we can mix the theory. It was the turtle that it was happening on the turtle shell,
Yo, nah,
and the
nah, I
turtle.
think that's different.
you guys are losing your brain
I
right
think
now?
that's different.
Yeah.
Nah, the turtle theory is tough. I like it.
The world
The
turtle.
world turtle, yeah, man. We're
That's when
we're being held up on elephants or something.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
5 elephants. Is it? Let's see.
Is it 5? I think it's 4.
Theory? I forgot how.
Yo,
much
if it's
it was.
3, that would be crazy.
Yo, the Trinity.
Yo,
They try to steal.
Yeah.
Don't escape it.
that's crazy.
Let's see. All right. It
Nah.
says
There's a
oh,
trinity
it's,
though.
it's found in Hindu literature.
There's a trinity though. There's 3 animals:
Is there?
Yeah, it's the elephants,
the turtle, and the
some-
monkey.
Really?
That's us. We're the monkeys.
Get out of here. He added the monkey.
Trinity.
Where is the? I can't find it. Let's see. I'm trying to look for what it says, the philosophy of it. But yeah, there's definitely
Some
a
wacky
team
theories
of
out there.
increasingly
There
large
is.
turtles.
Wacky.
All I know is that in the scriptures it says, and I'm paraphrasing, it says that everything that's made, that's visibly made, is made out of things that are unseen,
Like molecules.
like molecules. This is
We don't see, back to water.
mm-hmm.
We don't see the individual molecules. We don't see hydrogen or oxygen in the air. We just know it's there because we're still breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's now with our technology that we've gained, we can see these things that are unseen. So this is why a lot of these theories starting to go away, because they were primitive theories, meaning that, like Darwin, let's say,
Yeah.
right? He said that life was simple. Obviously, it's not, because now we have DNA, we have RNA, we have a whole bunch of we have proteins that fold in different areas with different information. So it's already showing that that life is complex. We're talking about water and evaporation, a system, right? The reason I did that stuff is on purpose, is because that means that there's laws that are around here, which we were probably going to get into also, right? Because if everything happened randomly, then who wrote these laws that they call the laws of nature? But who wrote, if there's a law that you discover, that means there has to be a lawgiver or somebody who wrote this law.
The monkeys.
And we keep saying the monkeys,
or the world turtle.
but this is before the monkeys, I'm
world
assuming.
turtles. The world turtle. The world turtle
There's
gave it out.
there's 4 elephants. I looked it
There's
up.
4 there's 4
Oh, so it's
elephants,
not
yeah.
3?
Yeah, they're standing on the back of the turtle, and then the Earth is on the backs of the elephants.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What
That's
theory
tough.
is this?
This is the world turtle, the Hindu.
Hindu word? Well, okay.
Yeah,
Shout out to my Hindus, man. That's
it's
a
the Hindu
crazy
deity
theory.
Vishnu.
Again, and it's everybody has their own theory, but again, theories that make sense that you can observe and you can watch. I don't.
Come on, man.
I mean, I know a lot of people argue and they say that, you know, NASA fakes the pictures and stuff like that. But if you go by the pictures, they didn't see any turtle or any elephant
Definitely
Yeah.
not.
holding up the earth or something.
The world is also not flat.
I'm gonna send one of them.
That's
up there.
another conversation for another day,
We
too.
gonna send one of them up there so they can find that damn turtle. Find those elephants holding us up.
Yo, wait, what'd you say, Wilson? The Earth isn't
Not
flat, right?
Yeah, he said it
No,
isn't a
because
flat.
if they went to space, landed on the moon, took pictures of the Earth, You see it's round.
But they're fake.
It's the lens.
Yeah.
They use the fisheye lens, so
He said fisheye lens.
yeah, that's what they say.
Bro, fisheye cannot turn a rectangle into a circle,
What
man.
do you mean, bro? The
Come
fisheye
on,
lens
bro.
Crazy.
made it circular.
I mean, it'll make it a little circular, but not a whole globe circular.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of
If we
out
were
of
a flat
proportion.
piece, there's no way you make a circle out of that.
If the earth was flat, that would be crazy. I'm not going to lie to you.
wow, like where's the end of the earth? Wouldn't you
That'd
fall
be
off?
So, yeah, that'd be so crazy.
Hey, how does no one find the end of the earth yet?
Yeah.
Because they said that
The Bermuda Triangle.
and the gravity
I don't
doesn't let us
The gravity doesn't
pulls us back to the center,
That's
So
crazy.
so we can't make it to the ice wall.
the ice wall. So the end of the earth is in the ice.
There's an ice wall,
There's
yeah.
an
that-
ice wall at the end of the earth.
Yo, that's like Game of Thrones type of thing. If I got
So
Night
if
Watchers.
we fall through the ice wall or try to, we just get teleported back to the center.
You said teleport.
No, it as you go
'Cause you
further
said
away.
the gravity would bring us back to the center.
Yeah, because in a this is why the globe makes a little bit more sense.
Makes a lot more
Because
lot more sense.
because if you're on a globe, anywhere you are on the planet keeps you on the ground because you're is going to the center.
Yeah.
pulling you.
But if it's flat and you're walking away from the center,
just gonna
it's pulling
pull
you
you
back
back.
to the center. So you can't make it to this ice wall. So that's
Yeah.
why they say that.
That don't make no sense.
So like, how do you explain like planes? Like if you're going in a one direction for just like ever.
I'm becoming the devil's advocate here, but they say that
No, that's fun.
they say that the
I
planes
love
go on a only on a certain path, that they don't go to the earth to that side
I
of
wanna
the
put these people on planes and boats so they could go figure it out themselves.
well I don't know if you guys he's
This
laughing
guy's
over there.
laughing.
That's what I want to do, man.
I don't know if you guys
This guy's
remember
funny,
the
man.
supersonic flight, the Concorde.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were telling us that word.
They were that plane would go up 60,000 feet up in the air.
Oh, wow.
Because it would fly at subsonic,
Super
speeds,
speed,
like 1,000
crazy.
something, and they'll
That's
get
crazy.
to London in like 3 hours or something.
That's crazy.
But that height, they start to see the curvature of the Earth
Really?
at that height. But
That's
But
so
they were
fast.
using
nobody
fisheye
talks
lens
about
with
that,
too,
either.
right?
Yeah,
That's
they don't
So
talk about that.
fast.
Supersonic is that's real.
60,000 feet is ridiculous.
They're trying to bring it back. That's why I'm bringing it up, because they're trying to bring back the supersonic speed.
Oh yeah,
or whatever.
supersonic flight is making a comeback.
Yeah.
That's hard.
We don't
Gotta
need
try
that.
it.
We really don't need that. You gonna wake up sick. I was about to say seasick, but you're gonna wake up sick, bro. You're gonna be
Seasick.
super jet lagged.
Nah. When they do that, when they do
It's
bring
fast.
it back, they gotta like do a documentary. Look at the lens we're using. It's not fisheye, and then they put the lens and then they'll show.
Bro, come
I-
on,
What
I
are they
think-
sending?
I
Come on,
think
man.
that
They
even
still gonna fight it?
I think seeing
Yes.
I think seeing they're still not gonna believe,
Wow.
because the scripture talks about
Says a
that
lot,
that
yeah.
even hearing they're not gonna hear, and even seeing they're not gonna.
You know what they're gonna tell you?
What are they
They're
gonna
gonna tell you, you eating that up. That's what they're gonna tell you.
that up?
Yeah.
You know damn well they switched it out. Like right, they make
They're
it.
lying to you.
Or they're
Open
gonna
your
say is a government cover up, but why are they covering it up, and they can't explain why they're covering it up.
You can't suck your teeth because you're just the,
Nah,
you're
yeah,
the same.
nah.
'Cause,
But
like,
there
'cause-
comes to a point where you can't cover
like,
everything
you
up.
take 9/11 and be like, nah, man, it wasn't planned. Or you eating that up?
Nah, but like there
that's
has to be a line you gotta draw, bro.
No, there's no line.
You tell me the government covers up everything?
Absolutely.
But-
That's what people think.
Yeah, but hear me out, and I know we're still talking about
Yeah.
it does God exist, but this
Yeah.
is good because it brings all these questions up.
Yeah.
But think about it, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me the government is incompetent to make it to the moon and give us proper pictures, but they are competent in covering everything up.
Mm.
They got to pick and choose.
That's the problem. That
Yeah.
it becomes a contradictory either way.
Or
They
they
either
pick
know
and
what they're
choose.
doing and they can't make it to the moon and they're hiding everything, or they're incompetent and they don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Wouldn't
they got
make
to pick.
sense.
They got to
Yeah, they're because how are they stopping all the planes
pick. Yeah.
and all the boats and all the drones that people have?
In my opinion, I think it's much easier to land on the moon than cover up
Fake it.
governmental secrets and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Like, like, come on, man. You know how hard that is?
Bro, they try to cover up like secret projects of planes and it leaks out,
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
and missiles and stuff, and
Mhm.
they're gonna cover up the landing on the moon or the
Yeah.
Earth is flat.
yeah, even with the UFOs, like that
Didn't
that
they,
was
like,
getting leaked all the time.
finally-
They just
Yeah,
they
bro.
finally
They
embraced it.
admitted, like, oh, we've had unidentified aircrafts like before.
Yeah, they changed the name. It's
Yeah.
now what UAP.
Yeah,
Unidentified-
unidentified anomaly,
Aerial phenomenon.
Aerial phenomenon. But
Yeah.
the reason they changed it is because they're not again, that's for another day. That's another. I'm not even getting into it.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
That's a
gonna.
different can of worms.
That's different.
I want to talk about the human brain, because if there's no God and everything just came out of existence, the human brain, right, simultaneously processes amazing amount of information, right? It says your brain takes in all colors and objects you see, the temperature around you, the pressure you feel in your feet when you're walking on the floor, the sounds around you, the dryness of your mouth, even the texture of your keyboard. Your brain holds and processes all your emotions, thoughts, and memories. At the same time, your brain keeps track of ongoing functions of your body, like your breathing patterns, your eyelid movement, your hunger, your movement of muscles and hands. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because I don't know if people are noticing.
That's so crazy.
The brain is like a supercomputer.
That's what I'm saying. It's blinking your eyes. It's pumping your heart. It's making you think. It's making you dream. It's making you speak. It's making you breathe. It's doing all this at the same time. But there's no God. There's no creator. Nobody designed that. That happened by coincidence.
The monkeys did.
Those darn
That's the name of this
monkeys.
episode. The monkeys did.
The monkeys.
You
guys
got
need
names.
to
Nah, it's
monkeys.
crazy now because like everything you said, like obviously like living, you take that for granted. Like you don't really pay attention or like give much thought to how much your brain really does. Like that's really crazy because even like you said, like it processes the colors and the light, like your brain literally just does everything. And that happened by chance. Those darn monkeys.
or the soup. I mean, I don't know how the soup
or the turtle
turned.
somebody's.
Wow.
And I don't know what's the name of it. Empathy, or what is it?
The law of entropy.
Yeah, the thermodynamics.
Yeah, that's the second
That
law.
says that everything that
The universe is running down.
Yeah.
It's constantly running down and it's running out of usable energy. Yeah.
Oh,
Entropy.
yeah.
and it's observable. Like you can see that we decline, right?
Global warming.
Kingdoms decline, right? The Earth declines. Stars decline.
The sun is burning out.
Which I don't know if you guys heard this, but it's been a theory out there, and maybe you guys could look it up and fact check it. I'm not sure. The point is that they're saying that we've never really seen a star being born. We've seen stars die, but we've never seen stars being born.
That's crazy.
They said that scientists and and astrologists or whatever, they look up in the stars and they see nebulas and things, and they think that's a star being born, but they've never really seen a star like just pop into existence, which is interesting.
That's very crazy.
Yeah, because if that's true, that means I want to read a quote. I can't find it, man. It's a Gnostic person who wrote this, and it's a good quote. If I can find it.
Okay, yeah, for like talking about entropy too, while you find that. I was just state the law of thermodynamics. It says it states that in all energy exchanges, if no energy enters or leaves the system, the potential energy of the state will always be less than that of the initial state, which also infers that you don't create energy. Your energy is always winding down. Like there's no creation of energy.
Yeah.
The only creation was obviously the Big Bang, and then that's when the law of thermodynamics comes in, and all the energy is constantly winding down.
Yeah.
So you can only exchange, and you learned that in science class too, in school. You can always exchange energy, but you can never produce an energy. It's always exchanging or going down.
Which goes to the idea of mutation, right? Like evolution or whatever that case is. Like a mutation is never a good thing. As a matter of fact, mutation sometimes is a loss of information, but we can observe a gaining of information. This is what evolution states. Like you guys laugh and make fun about the monkeys, which is funny, but you could see a monkey go down, a human also go down and die, to his peak. Like we were talking about basketball before, right? You could see a peak, a curve. They're born, they're small, they get to a certain height, and then from that height they can't get any more information. They lose information. They start degrading, declining. They start going down. So this theory that sounds phenomenal about evolution, but it's saying that information is being added, meaning that I was a monkey, but now I'm gonna add information to turn into a human. Right? I'm going to start walking upright out of something because a need of me to climb a tree or a need for me to survive. I'm going to add information from nobody knows where.
That's so wow. Like that's so mind blowing.
The monkeys.
Like
The monkeys.
that makes no do they really sit down and think about it? Like that makes no sense.
I mean, I get where they're going with it, because in the time that it came up, there wasn't an advancement. But now is the problem that people still hold on to it. And they say that creationism, what we believe in, right? They say that's a theory, but they say theirs is a fact.
Yeah.
But their stuff is not observable.
Yeah.
That's
And they're,
funny.
they're not teaching creation in schools. They only teaching evolution.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna teach a theory, then you should
Teach all theories.
like
Yeah.
or do you know if that's too much for you, then don't teach it. But at least state that this is a theory. Evolution is a theory, and then there's another theory that's creation. But don't teach one as a fact, and then the other one just throw away
Yeah.
conveniently.
That's, again, that might fall into the realm of agenda. Why is it
We love
unpleasant?
agendas.
Yeah, but why is it unpleasant? Why is this theory so bad? And a lot of people have different excuses. Oh, well, it's old. Well,
All
it
theories are
Come
old.
on, man.
that's what I'm saying. I don't understand that.
Everything. Is
Oh, but it's in the Bible. That's a book of fairy tales.
all right.
It was
Okay.
written by man, but you writing out.
Yeah.
Men are writing all the textbooks.
But Darwin wrote the Darwin's theory.
Everything you
Even
read
before
is
him, like
by
all the
man.
old theologists and stuff, like going back to like Plato and them.
Yeah, it's
All they were doing was just
Everything you read
theorizing
is
everything to figure it
man-made,
out.
man.
Yeah. And then Dr. Frank Turk, shout out to him again.
Yeah.
He talks about this. He talks about how it becomes then not a scientific problem. It becomes a psychological problem.
Yeah.
This is why he says that science doesn't say anything. Scientists do. Because in other words, science shows data is how you choose to interpret that data, which then goes to the Bible, because that's why there's so many denominations, right? People believe so many different things, because it's not that the information is bad. It's that the way people are interpreting that information
Yeah.
becomes bad.
But take it and using it in different ways.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I found the quote. It's astrologist Robert Jastrow. It says he's a self-described Gnostic. He stated, and I quote, he said, "The seed of everything that has happened in the universe was planted in that first instant. Every star, every planet, and every living creature in the universe came into being as a result of the events that were set in motion in the moment of the cosmic explosion." So this is why we were talking about how we haven't seen a star being born.
Yep.
Because in his observation, he's saying that when everything was created that moment, everything was created that was to be in that moment. And then after that, obviously everything is declining or going away. So we're going to see things that die, but not things that are born in space.
Yeah. Wow. Because you said Robert Jastrow, right?
Yeah.
I also have a quote from him too. He's the founder of NASA's Goddard Institute of Space Studies, and he also said, "Astronomical evidence leads to a biblical view of the world. The essential element in the astronomical and the biblical accounts of Genesis is the same." So he's like what we're trying to say. Like people say that some people say that science and the Bible can't go together, but science proves the Bible. The Bible, again, like he's saying in Genesis, the accounts of Genesis, every scientist is now leaning towards that there had to be a beginning, and that beginning is whether they want to. They're like leaning towards it, but then they fight it. It's like you're leaning towards creation. You don't want to give in to the creator.
Well, this is why he calls himself a Gnostic, because now he believes in a creator. He just doesn't know if that creator is the God of the Bible.
Yeah.
And then that's why a lot of people get excited when they hear these atheists. Oh, I'm a Gnostic now. Oh, great, you're believing. No, because now they believe in something. They just don't know if it's the God in the Bible. And that's what we're trying
They
to.
want to give it a name.
Yeah, they don't want to give it a name, and they don't want to attach like a belief system or any religion to it.
You're right, because he did say, then after that he came to the conclusion, he said that supernatural forces, that's the term he used, are at work in the universe. Now he said that now that's a scientifically proven fact. But again, like agnostic.
Intelligent design.
There's a name for that
That's it.
supernatural force.
There's
Yeah.
a name.
That's a mind, which is funny because, okay, you guys were talking about science, right? You guys could look it up and correct me if I'm wrong, but science technically talks about, it's like the study, we observe nature, right? And we try to like reverse engineer. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it's funny how scientists and how human beings, when they reverse engineer like nature or something that they're observing, the stars, the planet, wildlife, right? They can observe that and say, oh, well, God doesn't exist because this can happen like this. But you can't do that with anything else. Like you can't like, let's say we're brand new to this planet. We just showed up, right? And we found a car, right? When we start reverse engineering this car by observing it, just because we start observing the way the parts work and we start figuring out how the car works, doesn't mean that the car maker doesn't exist. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you could start doing that with anything else. Just because you're reverse engineering something and you're starting to figure out how it works, doesn't mean that the creator who created that doesn't exist. It's just that you haven't seen him yet.
Yeah.
Which again happened with medicine and with like DNA, right? We were talking about that. It's like the program inside of our bodies that tell each cell or whatever how to create itself, and it tells us we're gonna be brown skin, white skin, dark skin, curly hair, straight hair, brown eyes, green eyes. That information is there. It's there, and we're gonna grow up and we're gonna grow into what that information has. Nothing more or nothing less. Because that's what's in the information. Nothing's going to be added to it. So again, we're figuring out the human body now and how it works. But just because we're figuring out how it works and we're seeing the nuances or whatever it is that is working in our body, doesn't mean that the creator doesn't exist. Because that creation or that thing is still here.
Exactly.
That itself is showing that there's proof of a creator, a designer, a mind. Because we were talking about before, right? The laws. There's laws everywhere.
Let's be a lawgiver.
So who wrote the laws? Who programmed the program? Like, I've never seen a computer program itself.
Not yet.
Not yet.
The monkeys will.
But again,
The monkeys will.
if you do ever run into a computer that programs itself, it's because somebody programmed the computer.
To
and,
program itself.
Exactly.
and then deliberately that computer needs to be plugged into a source, right? So right now, as they're talking about the Big Bang or the explosion, right? To me, that's like almost like a computer board, right? We're in the dark until something outside of that computer board plugs it in and electricity flows through or an energy comes through. And this is what when we talk about the scripture, right? That, God says, let there be light. Boom. And then there's light. And then we call the universe the universe. So do the scientists, which means one verse, meaning one spoken or one word, or you know what I mean? Like, it's interesting.
It's so hard to be an atheist, bro. Like, it's too hard, man.
What does Dr. Frank Turris say?
Like,
Just jumping through
I don't have
hurdles.
enough faith to be an
yeah, like it's too hard.
But then they also try to replace God with nature. They want nature to be the cause, but
It doesn't make any sense.
nature can't be the cause. It's an effect of a cause. If nature had a beginning, which we see, whatever created nature must be beyond nature and supernatural. That's what the God of the Bible is.
Yeah.
The cause of everything you see around you, the universe, the cause must be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, and powerful enough to create everything out of nothing, and a personal God as well in order to choose to create. Because it can't just be a force that just does. It doesn't make like gravity is just a force that it just does what it's supposed to do every single time. It just,
It doesn't create. It's not.
yeah, it's not personal. It's just a law given by the lawgiver, which is why he's personal, because he chose to create that law as well. And obviously, like Wilson said, intelligent design, because he said he designed and fine-tuned the entire universe to make everything work and flow. How you're seeing it right now. So
I want to read you another quote. Richard Feynman, hopefully I said that right, Nobel Prize winner
Peace Prize
for quantum electrodynamics, I believe. He says, why nature is mathematical is a mystery. The fact that there are rules at all is a kind of miracle.
kind of. I love how you throw that kind of.
Well, I mean, I speak to a lot of people that are battling with this and the theories and stuff like that. And to me, the first miracle in life, in our world that we can see, is the explosion, the Big Bang, the everything out of nothing. If that is possible, because we're living and we're talking and we're thinking and we're breathing and we're touching and we're, we're loving each other and we're walking around this earth. If that's possible, then anything else is possible. So then this goes into the theories. Then why do they say that, oh, Jesus can't walk on water? He can't multiply the bread. What are you talking about? Everything came out of nothing. You even say it out of your mouth. If that's possible, anything's possible. That's the biggest miracle in our human existence, is that everything came out of nothing.
That's the biggest miracle, that we're all here right now.
Yeah. And all this information, all these laws, all this DNA codes, and millions of cells, and all this stuff that you keep reading, and you guys can look it up and read on your own. Like, how is this a coincidence? I haven't seen it. Like, I've seen, we live in the city here, right? And all the time there's a fire which is chaotic and random, right? Fire is just because of a mistake or something. You never see nothing good come out of a fire.
Yeah. Destruction.
Yeah. Out of explosions, you don't see this unless
with any element.
Yeah. With any element. You're right.
Anything, like, if there's just too much water, it's a flood.
Yeah.
It's going to destroy everything.
Too much of everything.
If a mountain would fall, a bunch of rocks.
It's not going to create a building or something.
Yeah, it's not going to fall into a perfectly made house. If there's a tornado, it's not going to, it's going to take everything.
Yeah.
It's chaos.
I remember a guy said something like that too. He's like, if there's an explosion in a printing press, a newspaper doesn't come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's so crazy, bro.
But think about it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You don't see like the paper. There's an explosion in a printing press, right? You don't see the paper just start getting words and letters come out of nowhere. The ink starts, you know what I mean? It puts, coherent sentences.
Come on,
like, what is that? So it's funny when we say that and we laugh. But then when you think about, this happened by chance. Natural selection.
Natural selection.
Hey, man, if you throw a grenade in a tent, it's going to turn into a condo.
Like, that makes no sense.
And then that condo's going to have condo rules.
Yeah.
It's going to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's like condo rules.
I'm just saying.
It's going to have a floor mat.
It's funny to me.
It's going to have the utility bill attached.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Bro, it's too hard to be. It's too hard to be an atheist.
It's too hard.
You gotta I think people that choose to be atheists are like but I think they just don't care. Like, they don't care whether or not there's a God or nothing. They just move. They just live.
I think
they're moist robots.
I honestly think it's a rebellion. Because again, in this argument there's three arguments for proving God. We talked about the beginning of the universe, the design, and there's that third argument, which is the moral argument.
Wow, I love that. I love the moral argument, man.
And the reason why someone would be an atheist is because if there's a God, then there's a moral law.
Yeah.
And then there's that moral law that differentiates what's good and bad. And obviously, as humans, we're going to want to do what's bad sometimes. And they don't want to feel judged or guilty for doing what's bad. So they don't want there to be a God.
Yeah.
Which is...
and I don't want to give an account.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to do what's bad, I don't want to get caught. I don't want to give an account for that. So my best way is to, not believe.
Yeah.
That there's a supreme standard above what I believe. But then you said something important. You said that if, morality, where does that come from? Like, who set the standard? Because if we set the standard here, you guys know all the time that we're going to set the standard depending on our condition.
Yeah.
Meaning that...
What we do.
Yeah, exactly.
How convenient it is for us.
Yeah, I could put a law, right? And I could say, we can't do this. And if you do this, this is your punishment.
Yeah.
Until somebody I love does the mistake, then I'm going to have an exception to the rule.
Keep moving the goalpost.
Yeah, like Martin was saying, you're moving the goalpost. But again, that doesn't happen in nature. Nature's ruthless. Like, you don't follow the law, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Something's gonna blow up. If you don't believe in the laws of gravity, right, you're gonna fall and die.
Gravity does not care that you were trying to make that jump to the other building.
You're gonna die.
And they don't care if you're a family member, if I love you more, or they love you more, or that's your mom. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It does. It's not. It's
guaranteed.
Yeah, it's guaranteed.
But again, that's where we know morality comes from. Somewhere else, a higher power, which is obviously the God of the Bible that we're talking about here. But I was watching a video, and another Frank Turk video, man. Frank Turk, shout out to Frank Turk. But
the GOAT.
Yeah, we from Jersey too, Frank.
Yeah, we from Jersey. But he was doing like a seminar, like when he holds like those Q&As at the end of a seminar he does, or at a school, and a student was trying to argue the fact that morality comes from society. He tried to argue that morality was was it sociological? What?
Society.
Sociological.
Saying that it's social.
Yeah, sociological. He tried to say that we know that what the Nazis did to the Jews was bad because we all came together and decided that it was bad.
No.
And then Frank was like, well, if we all come together and say that what the Nazi did was good, does it make it good? And he was like, no, it's still wrong. But then like he basically in the video he kept is like a circular argument. He
Contradictory.
Yeah, he saw that what he was saying didn't make sense, and then he just kept saying the same thing over and over again, which it just proves that morality can't be something we agree on, because we can just change our minds, and then
it's just everybody's opinion.
Yeah, it's just my opinion against yours.
Exactly.
And then that becomes dangerous, because I mean it's happening now.
Yep.
I mean, all the time when a kingdom or a society that's like an empire has been around for a long time, it starts to degrade, and you know it by its people.
Mm-hmm.
And what they start deciding what was bad now becoming good.
Yeah.
As we see in our society going on. Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is that morality is becoming,
they're trying to make it that.
Yeah, and like an option, like it's what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if I scream long enough, we can change it.
Yeah.
But it's not, because even if the whole world decides to call something good and that's bad, somebody's still not gonna be. Majority of the people they're gonna know, hey, this is not right.
Yeah, you're gonna feel that.
Yeah.
You're gonna know that that's not really right. You're gonna feel it, and if you don't feel it, you're too far gone. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, Scripture talks about that, not to let your conscience be seared, like be placed on with a hot iron.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your conscience is gone, then you're gonna do some questionable things.
Yeah.
And we're doing questionable things now, so questionable that we're even doubting if God exists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're having this conversation, and it's not we think it's only atheists, but there's people in the Christian community that are scared because they think that if they go against the theories that are said to be facts, they're gonna call me a lunatic, or they're gonna be, but they're so scared about that they don't see that the basis that they believe in is more factual.
It makes more sense.
Than what they're being preached or being tricked into.
Mm-hmm.
It literally makes much more sense.
I mean, if you literally take a thought to it, you start to notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You start to notice, like
a lot of these people aren't thinking.
No.
Or
They say that we're not thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're thinking, or they have that personal agenda against God.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Very personal.
Yeah, they don't want. Maybe even some of them even were Christian, and something bad happened to them, and then they're like, they get mad at God, and then again, if
they
you
just don't want it to be real.
Yeah, if you mad at God, He's there.
Well, He's there.
First off, but again, it depends. Everyone has their own intentions.
And they be saying, "Oh my God, oh my who?
Yeah,
who?
Aren't you atheists? Oh my who?"
Even I'm in 9/11. You guys mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys see all those videos,
Mm-hmm.
you can't tell me all those people that are in the streets are Christian, saying, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ."
Some of them probably even prayed, and they people
That's a Hail Mary.
It's a Hail Mary.
They
right?
throw up a Hail Mary.
Some of them
Just in case.
If you're there, please.
Just in case.
That's what everybody do, man. It don't matter. Honestly, it don't matter who you are, man. And when you in that moment, you gonna say, "God help me."
Yep, you gonna call out.
If like, it don't matter if you believe, if you don't believe. I don't think there's a single person out there who an atheist or quote unquote atheist that is like firm in their belief. Like, nah, there is no God. If they are in that what's it called?
Yeah.
If they're in the right situation or the wrong situation, I should say,
Yeah,
they gonna call out to God, bro.
Yeah.
yeah. I think you're saying like in that moment of life or death, or just
That's just our natural, like,
you're probably gonna go away.
that's in us
But he said
to
that
call to God.
it's a natural thing,
Mhm.
because remember, we're talking about that we've been programmed by a programmer, by a designer.
Mm-hmm.
That means that programmer instilled that in us.
We're made to call out to God.
So because we're made for that. Remember, in scriptures we talk about that, right? We're made to be in relationship with Him.
Yeah,
We're
to
made
worship, yeah.
worship Him, to be next to Him, to be by God. So it's interesting how no matter what your belief system is, you're inclined to do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When your back's against the wall, man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man,
You don't
And
call for help.
that's
you're
another
not
proof.
calling on the monkeys. You're not calling on the world turtle.
You're not calling on that
You're
soup.
saying, "Oh my God."
Yep.
That's crazy.
And that's another proof that God exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's innately in. That's in you.
Yeah, it's definitely in you, which is
But they gonna say it's like, oh no, that's cultural, that's societal. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
we've been saying, oh my God, for however long.
yeah. They're gonna say
They're
we
always gonna find-
brainwashed
they're always
and
gonna find a way to.
Hey, bro, you atheist saying, oh my God, come on, bro, have some self respect.
Have some self-respect for your own belief, right?
Yeah,
Or your lack
man,
of
like,
belief.
or oh my goodness, man.
I don't know. I know you guys mentioned before that about like micro and macro
Yeah, macroevolution,
evolution,
microevolution.
and they, you know, a lot of people hold on to that, right? Just because you can observe micro evolution, because microevolution is, you know, our skin becoming brown so the sun doesn't
Yeah.
cook us or whatever.
Mhm.
But that's micro. You don't turn into a bird,
Yeah,
or you don't turn into a shell.
Metamorphosis.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like a bird, eating meat. Like their beak will get sharper in order to pick at the meat and
Yeah.
whatever, pick the bone. Like that's micro. Like, we can observe that. But again, that bird's not turned into a lion because the meat was so big. He had to
Yeah.
makes no sense.
man.
that's like, where is it getting this information
Not
from?
yet though.
Not yet, right?
Not yet,
Oh, in
'cause,
a couple million years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
millions of years.
After natural selection runs
Natural
its course,
selection.
man.
When the monkeys come together, have a meeting, and they decide. They decide.
They have a meeting.
They decided the
Push it
bird.
one.
What species
It's time
gotta,
to go
gotta
further.
die? Yeah,
Yo.
He said after the monkeys have a
Monkeys
meeting.
did it.
yeah, the monkeys. You,
But see, this is interesting.
the monkeys did.
This is interesting because I'm gonna try to keep it simple.
Mhm.
My mind sometimes goes nuts. I don't want it to go nuts, but if we're stuck, let's call this the matrix. We're stuck in the program,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That means that we can't change anything outside this program.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
time was given from outside.
Mhm.
There's nothing that we can do that can change time. We have some great ideas, and we think time travel exists,
Mhm.
and even if it does, and we can peek into the past or peek into the future, we still can't change it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know there's shows that, make it pretty cool that, like the Flash, that you can change in the Flashpoint. Those are our imaginations, but
Yeah.
there's no proof that we can do that because that's given.
Mhm.
So then the reason I'm talking about that, because it becomes the moral law.
Mhm.
We can't change it because we didn't establish it to begin with. Same thing with the laws of thermodynamics, the law of gravity, the law, the law of entropy, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
I'm saying it wrong, but
Entropy.
entropy. Thank you. Those are laws given.
Yeah.
We can't change them. And if we do, something happens,
Mhm.
right? Negatively. Like we were
Mhm.
talking about, if we move the position or we try to move the
Yeah.
position of the earth, it's a problem.
Like you said, like even bringing, like you said, the flashpoint in the story. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
He had to go back and just leave it how it is. What was his mom died,
He saved his mom, and
but then
then
things weren't.
oof, literally the
Everything
world
got worse.
burned.
Yeah, everything got worse. So then
It
he
was in
realized.
an apocalyptic state.
Yeah. So, but correct me if I'm wrong. He realized what he did was wrong, so he had to go back and just leave it how it originally
Yeah,
was.
man, things
Mhm.
gotta happen.
So
Yeah.
again, like you were saying, like you could try and change it, but things are most likely gonna get worse, and you're gonna realize, damn, how it was first is how it was supposed to be, and you're gonna go back and
Exactly.
just
Yeah, because it's given from outside
Yep.
this whole realm, this
Mhm.
outside of this whole world,
Yep.
or this whole universe.
That's
So
crazy.
it cannot
That's
be.
crazy, right?
It cannot be manipulated.
Yeah.
even if you try, you're
Mhm.
always gonna get led back to how it was supposed and how it was designed to be.
And we do it all the time. I know you guys laugh at me, because Android and Apple, but there's things that you cannot do on either system because it was programmed
Mhm.
that way
Yeah.
on purpose. We either got to wait for an update or they got to rewrite,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So the only person that can change is the designer, the creator, the mind who's outside.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because if evolution or this theory exists, right?
Mhm.
Does it only exist for living things? But we know trees are living things,
Mhm.
but we never seen a tree evolve into a table or a sofa, right? That has to be like something outside the tree's world for that to happen.
Yeah.
And that your mind could go crazy and continue to think about things like that.
Yeah, man.
I was that, yeah.
The
'Cause-
monkeys just chose.
This guy with the monkeys.
monkeys.
The monkeys just chose to
The,
evolve.
the monkeys have the codes.
Yeah.
They're the code ninjas.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like what you were saying, even in like talking about phones and stuff, like you can jailbreak your iPhone, but you know jailbreaking it
Compromises the security.
You're compromising the phone, and your phone's not gonna work the same way how it was before.
No.
And speaking from personal experience and with people I've spoken to,
It's gonna make it worse.
it makes their phone like it lets them do what they wanted to do in the moment, but over time your phone's gonna start glitching, it's gonna start freezing, and you're like, damn, I should have left the phone how it was because that's how it was designed to be. And then some people even like try to factory reset their phone to try and get it back to normal.
Even like
That's
having
crazy.
the beta update for your phone puts it all out of whack.
Yep.
You try to, what's it called? You try to get ahead of the game. You know what I'm saying? You try to get that update early, and
You try to add what's not what was not designed yet.
It's not finished.
That's
you know?
crazy.
And it's interesting to me because how do we question, is there a God or is there a creator, right? Just by listening to you guys talking about a piece of code that's written and is written incorrect, how can that phone, it doesn't even function. So how can these cells, turn into something else if it has incorrect coding? And it fails 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 and it can't do nothing. It continues to fail.
Natural
Like,
selection.
yeah, but how does it get that code? Like how are these cells or the soup that's so weak, so simple, right? Where does it find information?
Through natural selection.
It has to be given the information.
Through natural selection.
To the
man.
monkeys,
The code ninjas
the
again.
monkeys, man.
the code ninjas.
The natural selection.
I'm gonna talk to you guys about carbon 14, carbon dating,
Carbon dating.
or what they call radiocarbon dating, right?
Flawed carbon
Because
dating.
they talk about this a lot, and I want to read something for you, right? Carbon dating is the method based on unproven assumptions from the past. And the reason I tell you is that because the maximum, we spoke about this before, the maximum age that carbon dating can read is like 50,000 years. And the reason this is important is because they find fossils supposedly that are millions and billions of years old, respectfully. But how can they do that if carbon dating only lasts like 50,000 years? I mean, I could be wrong. We'll fix it if we're wrong, but like you guys could look it up. But that's what it says. It can estimate of how old something can be. It can only be 50,000 years old. So how can they say it's billions and millions and billions and billions when that can only be around?
The monkeys told them.
No, yeah, you're right. It said 50,000 years.
Yeah, it's 50,000 years.
Carbon dating only works for objects that are younger than about 50,000 years, and most rocks of interest are older than that.
It's by chance.
Right? It's by chance, he says.
By chance, but that goes back into what Darwin's doubt about the
Yes.
Cambrian explosion,
Exactly.
about all those fossils that just popped up out of nowhere, and he didn't have no explanation.
Yeah.
Because what he was trying to. What was he trying to find? Like the common ancestor was he trying to find of all these fossils? But he came upon like
Over 150, I think. Something like
I
that.
think it was like 342, if I'm not mistaken. It was a lot of just that of things he couldn't explain, and he wrote that as well.
Didn't you ask your teacher when you were growing up that, and they couldn't answer it?
Yeah, I was junior year. Was it junior? Yeah, junior year in high school. My biology teacher, she was we were talking about Darwin or evolution or whatever, and then I asked her, "Oh, are we gonna talk about Darwin's doubt?" And she's like, "Oh wow, yeah, we can get into that, but let's just stay focused on." She kind of like dodged it a little bit because she knows, like, people know. That's the thing. People know. But like, again, when you have your own agenda, I mean, I don't blame her. She's
She's a teacher.
She's just teaching
following the curriculum.
Yeah, her curriculum. But I bring it up, but that's not the agenda in school. They're going to teach you evolution because, they for some reason they want you to believe that rather than creation, even though they're both theories.
Exactly.
But Darwin's doubt. Cambrian explosion. I'm trying to look.
Yeah, you could look it up. The reason I'm bringing that up is because of fossils. They talk a lot about fossils, and we have been under the assumption that fossils can only be formed because of a long period of time. Recently, scientists have been finding that fossils can be formed quickly, and they've seen things like leaves, like as soon as they die, they can. Depending on their environment and how, dirt and all the mud works or whatever, what kind of different it can fossilize pretty quick. We could look that stuff up. We could bring more information as we continue to talk about this conversation, because I know people want proof about that. We can't just talk about, you know, assumptions and say they're facts like everybody else does. We got to bring proof. But I know I've seen even documentaries of caves that they go in, and it seems like these like things that are coming off the walls of the caves already, like they look like they're fossilized, and they took a long time. But they start doing experiments, and depending on the salt water and the calcium in the cave and all this stuff, it's how fast the things fossilize, which is interesting. Yeah, because they're using carbon dating and fossils to say that it's something for a long time, and obviously we're just reading the stuff is saying that it's not. So that's already a foot that they can't step on, on top of everything else that we spoke about, you know, fine-tuning, moral, you know, laws. We're deconstructing. We're deconstructing their whole theory.
A lot of their, again, there's a lot of holes in their theory and even in their agenda. What was the name of the monkey that they?
Caesar.
No, not Caesar. it was a female name. It was something about the
Lucy.
skull. Lucy,
Yeah.
was it?
And there's one called the Piltdown Man. If you guys want to look it up.
Yeah, I think
You said, what was the name of it?
Lucy.
Fur?
Lucy was.
He said fur.
Lucy Fur?
That's funny.
I heard.
Yeah, this guy's funny.
Ten cuidado, hermano.
But
You
yeah,
already
this
know.
was what they try to like say that the skull was like a human skull, but
She was like a monkey in the midway of becoming. No, yeah, a monkey in midway to become a human. But then they found out that they grabbed a human jawbone and they shaved it and they put it on a orangutan's head.
yeah, they're funny, bro.
So they lied about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
But you know what's crazy? That it got exposed, but they never spoke about it.
They didn't address
Of course not.
All they did was they took that off the books, if they did, and they never told anybody.
Oh, okay.
It's the same thing with Piltdown Man. Piltdown Man, look it up if you guys get a chance. Piltdown Man in Nebraska, the Nebraska Piltdown Man or something like that. That was proven to be a forgery too. But they don't talk about it. It doesn't come out in the news probably. And if it does, it's gonna be like real quick, like, hey, Nebraska Man, Piltdown Man is found to be a forgery. Back to you, Bob.
Oh yeah, Charles Dawson. He claimed to have discovered the missing link between ape and man, and he had found a part of a human-like skull, and that's the Piltdown Man. And the ancestor living 500,000 years ago. And what you said that he got exposed to?
Yeah, because I heard we could look it up to confirm it, but what I heard was that they put varnish on it, on the skull. They dug it in the dirt so it could look like it's old. So when they find it, it looks old.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
New dating technology arrived at the changed scientific opinion of the age of the remains using fluorine tests. Discovered that the Piltdown remains were only 50,000 years old, and he was claiming it was 500,000 years old. This eliminated the possibility of the Piltdown Man being the missing link between humans and apes at this point. And apes, as at this point in time, humans had already developed into their Homo sapiens form. Following this, Dr. Joseph Weiner and human anatomist Wilfred, I don't want to say his name. Let's see. Their results showed that the skull and jaw fragments actually came from two different species, a human and an ape, probably an orangutan. Scratches on the surface of the teeth, visible under the microscope, revealed that the teeth had been filed down to make them look human.
Yeah, see?
They had also discovered that most of the finds from Piltdown site had been artificially stained to match the local gravels. The conclusion, Piltdown Man was an audacious fake and a sophisticated scientific fraud.
But I grew up.
Damn.
I grew up, and a lot of Christians, probably people that believed in creation, were probably tricked with this and never told that this was turned to be fake. A lot of people got doubt, but they didn't care. Wow. That's the problem. That this is becoming, it's becoming like a cover up. This, and I don't want to sound like that, but why? Why they don't, why if when it's Christianity or something that we say about the scripture, it becomes worldwide news, right? oh look, they're fake. Oh look, they're sinning. Oh look, they're saying about this, but then they have mistakes and nobody talks about it.
No.
Just take it out the books.
Brush under the rug.
Yeah, take it out the books. The same thing happens with like the age of the earth, right? Which we could get into a discussion. We're not gonna touch that right now, but we could keep talking about. People say that the age of the earth is old. The age is billions and billions and billions and billions of years. A lot of creation people say it's 5,000 years, 6,000 years, 10,000 years. The carbon dating shows that the earth is young, because all the fossils they've been finding are not. As a matter of fact, there's fossils or bones that they find of dinosaurs with like bone marrow that's still,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people argue that too. A lot of people have different opinions on how old the Earth is. I don't know how much.
I
What
don't know.
would you
I
say?
don't know. I do not know. I don't know, bro.
Would you say anything?
It's difficult because we'll talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah,
And
I
we'll
definitely don't think it's more than 1 million. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it's like,
And even if it is, we can't trace it back to 1 million.
Mm.
Not through carbon dating anyway, or
definitely not.
radiocarbon dating,
See how
whatever it
flawed
is.
that is.
Just ask the monkeys; they'll tell you.
The monkey
The
council.
monkeys will
Yo,
tell
these
us.
monkeys
The
become-
monkey councilman.
These monkeys know everything, bro.
Yeah, they've become like these code breakers
Yeah.
or these code ninjas or something. What do they call those people?
Yo, the monkeys is crazy. The monkeys did it, right? That's the name of this episode.
The monkeys did. Nah, you seen that DJ Khaled move?
No,
You ain't see that?
no.
Where he be like, they ain't believe in us. God did.
God did.
They ain't want us to win. But God did. Yeah,
I've
bro.
never seen that, bro.
Yeah, I gotta show you that later.
DJ Khaled's funny,
DJ Khaled's funny, man.
but
But yeah, the monkeys did.
yeah, man. You know,
Dude, that's the real Freemason.
DJ Khaled?
Really think of no. The monkeys.
the monkeys are real Freemasons.
Yeah.
That's a conversation for another day.
We can-
Yeah, for real.
We're gonna have to thumbtack that one.
They're the ones that be in the Masonic lodges. Yeah, there's a secret monkey statue behind every wall, every pillar. Why are you counting, bro? Look, people who you can't see this, Martin is counting on his fingers right now.
Why?
I don't know what he's counting.
I was gonna make a
Can't take this guy serious, bro.
I was gonna be like Freemason has the same amount of letters as the monkeys.
No way.
Actually, I think so. Okay, so
Yo, no, do a count.
FREE. That's that's 4.
That's 4.
And then Mason, MASON.
Five.
That's 8. No, that's 9.
It's 9.
All right,
Okay,
so
9.
the monkeys. THE. That's 3.
Mm-hmm.
MONKI.
E. You said I.
E. Monkeys.
Oh, that's how you're gonna spell it with the I?
IES.
Oh boy.
What is that?
I lost count.
That's 7 plus 3. That's 10. You lucky.
You lucky.
That's
The
10. You
the
missed it.
conspiracy didn't live up.
Kasi,
name.
kasi.
It would live up to the name if you take
Yo,
out the I.
wait, no. Freemasons.
Freemasons.
Freemasons, the monkeys.
Yo, they broke
That's
out 10.
really 10.
That's it. It's over.
Yo.
I wanna.
The monkeys did it.
The monkeys.
We're gonna
The
end.
monkeys did.
We're gonna end this session with the monkeys did it, but I want to do a Bible verse.
Okay.
So you guys, Psalms 53 verse 1. It says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God.
Mm.
They are corrupt and their ways are vile.
Mm.
There is no one who does good."
Wow. That wraps up everything. Like we were saying, like for people who
Don't
are
believe in
atheists,
God.
who don't want to believe in God is because
It's rebellious.
they're rebellious and they're like what he said, their ways are vile.
Yeah.
That morality be hitting them and they don't want to deal with it.
Evil.
Yeah, you guys are right. I mean, in the core and the root of every
Mm-hmm.
thing that has gone wrong is somebody's intention to do something
Mm-hmm.
or to control something. Like coronavirus
Mhm.
in a lab being made. Why?
Mm.
Population control.
Maybe. Or maybe trying to heal something.
Mm.
Or maybe, you know, what the point is that
They trying to turn monkeys into humans.
they say they say that, look at it to you. Maybe they say that the road to hell is paved by good intentions,
Mm.
meaning that we're trying to do good
Mhm.
and it's happened before. How many times we're not trying to like, you know, make a something to kill cancer, and we
Yeah.
create another virus.
Like a bioweapon.
Yeah, or we create mustard gas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just example. That didn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But we always try to find something cool. Oh, look, let's do microwaves. We could make we could cook food, but we could also cook people.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
yeah.
that's how it starts.
Uh-huh.
So now look, Puerta.
Guns. Where were they created? To hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but now we could kill people.
Now we hunting people.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everything that was created was supposedly to help, but then it becomes
It
Yeah,
corrupts.
a weapon. Yeah,
Bad
correct.
people, you know.
Mhm.
These bad apples.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but like even like just like knives, sharp objects, probably like again that was probably created to hunt as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to help us. You
Oh,
know?
I could hunt an animal. This guy's pissing me off today. Let me kill him.
Wow.
See if it works on him.
Hey man.
Yeah.
That's how it be.
And so then it becomes not that the weapon is bad or the creation; it becomes the person or the heart behind it,
Yeah.
right? The mind behind it. And like you were saying, we're trying to be rebellious with God, so then everything becomes an issue. Everything becomes a problem.
And what was that verse you just read?
Psalms 53,
Psalms 53. Verse what?
verse 1.
Verse 1?
This is right the first verse, right to enter that Psalms. I think that was David who wrote that.
Yeah, David was in his bag. Psalms.
Well, he knew that while speaking about that stuff that he made mistakes, and he knows that the mistakes he made, he recognized that they were formed in his heart. You know what I mean? That he had the issues. It wasn't that it was, you know, God trying to make me go through this, or no, I had a bad heart and I made bad decisions. And now I'm noticing that a lot of, you know, bad decisions that are happening or things that are happening are not because, you know, it's just happening because it's random. It's because we're
By chance.
choosing to go that route,
Exactly.
which is
There's
interesting.
always a choice. People like, well, we'll get into that different. Like we were
Well,
talking on Tuesday, like
Predestination.
destination. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, there's always a choice.
Yeah. It's you know, because yeah, God picked his people,
Yeah.
right? But people chose to follow him or not.
Exactly.
Even the people he chose, some of them decided not to.
Yeah.
We were talking about Moses, right, in Egypt. Like how do you get out of Egypt, out of slavery? Some people say, oh, there was no slavery. Bro, if you owe somebody money and you have to work for it without wanting to be there, it's slavery. Whether you're getting paid and getting housing, it's slavery.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right? You can't leave till you pay this debt.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter which way you want to put this story. The point is God got them out. All through the walk, they see God's glory. They get to this mountain. After seeing all God's glory, they see God on this mountain. The mountain is shaking. The top of it is on fire.
That's so great.
And they still choose to worship a golden calf
That's crazy.
in the face of God. So my question to you is, when people ask for proof of God, what evidence are they looking for? Because the scripture says that evidence has already been given, right? So there's nobody has an excuse. In other words, that nature speaks about his hand and his intelligence. The scripture says that. We haven't read none of those verses, but we're paraphrasing now, and we could read them to start next session. But it's interesting, right?
No, yeah, like what you're saying, because those people back then had the proof in front of them. Like, like you're seeing this happen. Like you just saw Moses, God used Moses, and he just parted the Red Sea, and you just you walked on dry land.
Yeah.
And not only did they choose to worship they made that gold. Like they put work. They smelted the gold.
Yeah,
like
they took their
put
jewelry
the
off.
work in, and they made the calf and started worshiping it. And like you said, like right now where we're talking about proof of God, you know, we're presenting people proof and presenting them, you know, the information. But at the end of the day, what's in your heart is gonna trump everything that we're showing you.
Yeah.
Everything that God's showing you is just, you know.
And that's where it comes from, you know, and I say this all the time. You're looking for the truth, or you're looking for happiness. Because if you're looking for happiness, it doesn't matter what evidence you're going to see. You're not going to believe it because you just want to be happy. And if happy means lie to me or tell me a trick or tell me a story and I'll believe it, as long as, you know, if not believing God makes me happy, then you don't care how much evidence there's for God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just want
Because you just want to be happy.
to do what you want to do.
But truth does not make you happy. Truth confronts you.
Yeah.
And it confronts everybody, puts everybody in an uncomfortable state because it's fact, it's truth. I got to change, right? I got to walk a different path. I got to grab onto this and believe this. And it's tough. I get it. We were talking with Martin earlier today, that we were talking about when people say that they're of Jesus Christ, they put their sinful nature, they crucify their sinful nature and their desires and pleasures. And it's hard for people to hear that, because that means that when I come to know that there's a God, that means that I'm here for a purpose. And then that purpose doesn't mean that it's my personal agenda. Now it means that, what's the purpose? The creator who created me, why am I here? And then people don't want that. No, this is my life.
Nah, yeah.
I'm gonna do what I want.
That pride or that arrogance, like, you know, all that goes out the window once you go down the right path. But again, people don't want to. It's hard. People don't want to make that sacrifice.
It's crazy to me because you can't make your own heart beat. The heartbeat by itself.
And you can't stop it either.
Yeah. And if you do, you ain't waking up.
You do. That's it. It's over. Because again, you're deviating from what God designed. You're gonna try to, like, back to the flashpoint part. You know, that we were talking about. Like, you know, what was meant to happen. Every time you try to do your own thing, is gonna lead you right back to what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it's crazy
from the beginning.
Beyond the Gate will return.